World War III. These two countries are preparing for it. So over the last couple of weeks, we've heard a number of countries preparing leaflets, preparing their country, their citizens for invasions or escalations for World War III, effectively. And what we see here is two different countries. We're going to take a look at two articles, two different countries preparing themselves, their people, for World War III. Well, World War III preparations amidst drought, North Korean officials raid homes and farms to feed the army. So if it wasn't hard enough for the regular civilian in North Korea, the sanctions and the drought are causing the army or the government to tell the army basically to go ransack homes and farms to feed them. North Korean officials are ransacking homes and raiding farms in order to feed their starving army. Not only has the drought taken its toll on the nation, but its newest harsh seizure of food is causing internal clashes. Soldiers for the communist regime have already been given long periods of leave in order to try and find food. So they're getting time off to go and find food and make money to purchase food, because I guess the North Korean government can't afford to pay them. While North Korean citizens are used to officials searching for food and asking for bribes, their use of increasingly brutal tactics to feed the starving army has led to a reported clashes between troops and citizens. So the citizens are actually standing up now against the military in some cases, and there's clashes occurring because they can't stand it anymore. It's either fight or die from lack of food because the army is stealing it all. So it says, this year we have to postpone our farm work due to extreme urgent task of gathering food for the military. So they're gathering food for the military at the expense of growing more food for the next season, and that's going to just bode very badly going forward. In the past, individuals were allowed to take leave from farm work to obtain money for fertilizer or farm equipment. But this year, any money is being used to procure food and other items for military use. So North Korea in dire situation, and this is really going to force them to the edge of World War III. As you know, when they're put into a corner, what are they going to do? If they're starving, they have nothing left to do except toss some nuclear weapons around or fight more. I guess what they could do is drop their nuclear weapons and receive international aid. But I don't think, countries don't normally do that. They normally just wait until something happens, or they push a button and they go to war to feed their people. But here's another one. This is a Zero Hedge article. Estonia to issue how to prepare for war leaflets to 1.3 million of their citizens. So again, this was similar to another article that we did. Who was it? Norway or Finland? One of those countries was sending out leaflets, basically. Hadn't been done in 50 years since the Cold War or whatever. And now they're doing it again here in Estonia, another one bordering Russia and Europe there. As the world marches closer to war, countries in Europe are rushing to educate and prepare their citizens for citizen populations for military conflict with Russia. So this is going around, I guess, all the Baltic states, all the states that border Russia. They're basically preparing to go to war against Russia, and this is interesting. Why is this happening now? Is my question. These articles are just last 2-3 weeks that these have been coming out. Last week, for the first time since World War II, Sweden's government, that must have been it, Sweden, government announced that it would soon distribute some 4.7 million civil defense brochures. In the latest installment of war preparations, Estonian public broadcaster reports that the government of Estonia is preparing to send some 1.3 million civil defense brochures to its citizens. I wonder how soon before before they start sending it to North America, in the potential advent of a nuclear weapon, either from Russia, from submarines on the East Coast, or from North Korea, lobbing something over into Hawaii or something, or even to the mainland United States. So the leaflets have instructions of what to do in the event of a significant war or crisis, and definitely they are on the doorstep. They are on they are on the front lines of that. When it will be published, I do not know, but it is a work in progress, said Brigadier General Harem, according to the Postimees. The Ministry of Interior is currently coordinating work on the brochure. So Estonia, a former Soviet republic that borders Russia, is now a member of NATO, meaning that the United States and Europe are obligated by treaties to defend it. So NATO has to go in if Russia does anything to any of these little countries that are part of NATO. NATO as a whole has to go in. That means the U.S., it means Canada being part of NATO. That means we all have to take part and go to war against Russia. So here's a little image of how war could be played, and 6 different things about that. The largest Baltic state, Lithuania, in late 2016 issued a 75-page book on how to survive another Russian occupation. So these countries know that war is coming. Here's one. Prepared to survive emergencies and war, a cheerful take on serious recommendations. So there you go. Another country preparing for World War III. If these countries are more and more preparing for World War III, more and more preparing for some Russian advance, some Russian military escalation, wouldn't it make sense that something is coming, that maybe their government knows something, maybe there is something that they see coming in the not too distant future, and they're preparing their citizens now, just like the EMP preparations that the United States is doing, and the nuclear weapon preparations and drills that they're doing. I think the governments have a good understanding of the potential and the nearness of the potential as well, especially with countries like North Korea able to toss ICBMs over the Pacific and able to hit mainland North America now. I would not be surprised if Canada starts putting this stuff out again. It's good to be prepared, and it's good to have citizens prepared. But it's we're marching towards war, and this is what it says about the end times. Obama said his 8 years were the most peaceful 8 years in in the history. I don't know what the exact quote was, but he said it was the most peaceful time. Well, no, it wasn't. These countries were preparing for war at that time during his reign. I'll call it reign, air quotes, in the White House as well. It was not peaceful. We are marching towards war. We are marching towards the end times when God's going to come back, and there's going to be wars and rumors of wars happening. And with these leaflets, certainly that would fit the bill of rumors of wars, because the government knows something is potential, something is coming, something is imminent, something could be coming down the pipe real quick, and so they're getting their citizens ready for it. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll put both the links in the description. You can have a read for yourself. Let me know what you think.